are interested in what we're doing this morning in terms of our employability sphere. So Fran's already done an excellent introduction, but I'm just about to introduce myself, so you'll maybe get to hear a bit of this again. First technical hitch, there we go. So my name is Keely Rowell, and as Fran said, I am a category manager within the Commercial and Procurement Shared Service. So we work across Aberdeen City, Aberdeenshire and the Highland Council. Today I predominantly have my Aberdeen City Council hat on, but all my hats are always close by. I'm based in Aberdeen, same as the employability team who are with us today, but the Commercial and Procurement Shared Service do have people based within the Highlands as well. So to give a wee bit of context, CPSS has a team of category managers, and we have a remit for managing an overview of contracted spend for a particular area. So my remit covers human resources, business support and health. So I manage the overview for the contracts for all 3 councils, and that includes the provision of employability services within those areas. So wherever possible, we at the very least provide the opportunity for the 3 councils to purchase from any of our contracts or framework agreements, so they would be named on them within the notice. But best case scenario, we're really looking to have full-on aggregated agreements and to reap the benefits of having one agreement in place for 3 councils or more than 1 council. So for this particular procurement, Aberdeen City Council are the lead, with Aberdeenshire Council and Highland Council as named parties. So it could be that Aberdeenshire Council come on board in the not too distant future. The Highland Council have a framework in place at the moment, but when that expires, they may wish to come on board as well. But let me stress at this point, there is absolutely no obligation on anyone to bid on a piece of work that's not appropriate under this DPS. So we wouldn't be expecting a very small business in Aberdeen, for example, to be obligated to supply in WIC. It would just be you're bidding for what's suitable for your own business. So I've been working with the employability team for the last few months, and we decided that the most flexible way to cover these ever-changing needs for employability was to employ a flexible procurement route that was similarly flexible, and that's the dynamic purchasing system. So what is a DPS? A few of you will be familiar with framework agreements, so it's very similar to a framework agreement. There's a few providers who are on it, and they are able to compete for any of the work under something called a mini competition, where you would answer your quality questions and submit your pricing. So the DPS mini competition is effectively just the same thing. The main difference is that when suppliers get onto a framework, it's only those suppliers for the entire life of that framework. So there's no one new coming on. It could be 4 years of just the same providers. As I'm sure you know, with employability, there's a changing employability landscape, there's political decisions that have an impact, there's funding arrangements and they can change. So the local authority always has to change along how they provide those services along with those changes. So we needed something really flexible. And a DPS allows for any new suppliers to come on board at any time during the life of the DPS. But although obviously the sooner you join, the sooner you get those excellent opportunities. So sign up soon. It's also split into lots. So the employability colleagues of mine will run through what those lots are. But you can choose which lots you want to sign up for and what's relevant to your business. So the rationale behind this was to allow for smaller businesses to be able to compete rather than just having one big giant lot for all of our employability services. So I'll explain a wee bit more about what you need to do in the next slide, but basically we're going to onboard suppliers onto the DPS. And we'll give you a series of questions through something that Fran had mentioned before, the Single Procurement Document, or SPD. And this will assess things like financial status, experience, the constitution of your business, information in relation to criminal convictions. And if you pass those questions, you're then on the DPS. We then issue a mini competition where that's where we have our specific requirements or outcomes that we need the winning bidder to meet. And you would then tell us how you would do this and how much it would cost us. We evaluate it, award you the contract should you be successful. So those are the 2 stages that are part of the DPS. The advantages for us to using the DPS, so we can focus a bit more locally on our requirements. We're giving the people who are already providing services in Aberdeen a chance to bid. It's providing the council with flexibility in this changing landscape. It's perpetually open, which is great, so new bidders can come on at any time. It allows us to flex our supply base so that we can meet the needs of the people of Aberdeen. It also provides an excellent opportunity for collaboration. So obviously I'm part of a shared service. So we could run a mini competition that is for Aberdeen City and Aberdeenshire Council. But to stress again, no obligation on you to bid for a mini competition where it's not appropriate for you, if it's not appropriate to your business or you don't have capacity at the time. Although in saying that, I do want you to bid. So obviously very keen for you to come on board. And the DPS will run for 5 years. So timelines, here's some important dates for you. What are the timelines and how will we be doing this? So as I explained, there's the 2 stages. There's the onboarding. Don't ask me why this is the case. Maybe Jill or one of the other experts would know, but in the legislation, we have to open it for an initial 30 days. This can be a wee bit confusing for some people sometimes. We need to open it for the 30 days. We then close it at 30 days and instantly reopen it again for the rest of the 5 years. I think the rationale behind that was in order for people to cleanse their bids, and then if there was any errors in it or anything, the council could then get back in touch with you and you could resubmit your bid. So I think that was the rationale for it. So if there's something that's in your SPD that we feel we need clarification on, the council has 10 days to assess your bid and then come back to you, and then you can resubmit. But any sort of communication that we have with you, I'll fully explain, what we need to do. So that 30 days or the onboarding process is for your SPD. The stage 2, so that's in relation to our mini competitions. I'll speak a wee bit more about that on the next slide, but normally I would recommend to people that we advertise for a minimum of 2 weeks. So the initial 30-day session is live now. My proposed start date is the 19th of December. But as I've popped down at the bottom there, the dates are indicative and we might choose to change them, or they might vary slightly just depending on how long it takes us to evaluate or whatever. But again, we'll keep in touch with you on that. So a mini competition is for our particular service requirements. In the main, we'll be looking for bidders as part of this procurement to tell us how they'll meet our outcomes through the unique offerings that their business has. So we'll tell you what we're after. We don't expect it to always be massively prescriptive, but we'll be looking for your input. The way we then determine best value is to use our evaluation criteria that you'll see in the ITT to assess price and quality. So in terms of our quality assessment, we use something called method statements. So we'll tell you what we're looking for in our statement of requirements, and then we'll be looking for you to produce a statement to basically tell us how you would do that for us. The better the statement, the better the quality score. We then tally up the price and quality scores in line with the percentages that you see in the ITT and the DPS, and that's how we assess best value. We can also provide you with feedback should you be unsuccessful. We're happy to do that. And we may also conduct market analysis with you. So we would like to speak to our DPS partner suppliers to see what's possible in the market before we go out to procurement. So we really do want this to be like a partnership. Generally, we'll advertise these opportunities for a minimum of 2 weeks. And the contract length, we think, will generally be for 1 year. That could be subject to change depending on what it is we require. In terms of the practical side of bidding, so the mini competitions will be advertised on PCS rather than PCST, and they'll be done on something called on PCS called Quick Quotes. So you'll receive an email alert, and it's just to say it's extremely vital that everyone is registered on PCS and that you keep your contact details up to date so that we can find you and you get the alerts. So that's really important for you to keep that up to date. You then complete the prescribed documents and you can upload them through the site's postbox. And Jill will go through all of this with you, so that'll be really helpful. And if you have any questions about the procurement itself or our requirements, there is a Q&A functionality on both PCS and PCST. just to make you aware that sometimes the answers will be shared with the other bidders as well. The Supplier Development Programme obviously offer a wide range of resources as well to support you with tendering. I would really recommend that you go to them if you need any assistance as well. And also if you're struggling with PCS and PCST on the technical side, because I can say from experience, buyers can have bad days as well, that they are really, really helpful at both PCS and PCST support. So that brings me to the end. Thank you so much for listening. We're obviously a bit limited in what we can answer in terms of questions just now, as it's a live